As Marcus Kane, a retired heavyweight boxing champion, drives through a small town, he decides to stop at a local diner for a quick meal. The parking lot is filled with motorcycles, and a loud group of bikers is hanging outside, laughing and making crude jokes. These men believe they run the town, intimidating anyone who looks different from them. Marcus, dressed simply in a hoodie and jeans, steps out of his black SUV unaware that he's already caught their attention. The leader, a burly man named Rex, nudges his gang and smirks. "Look at this guy," he scoffs. "Think he's too good for a bike?" His gang chuckles, already planning trouble. But they don't realize they've just chosen the worst possible man to mess with. Marcus Kane isn't just any regular guy. He's a fighter who's never backed down from a challenge. Marcus walks into the diner, ignoring the biker's stares. He takes a seat at the counter, scanning the menu while the waitress, a kind elderly woman named Marge, greets him with a warm smile. Before Marcus can place his order, the diner door swings open hard, and Rex and his gang stomp inside, laughing loudly. They surround Marcus, towering over him. "Hey, tough guy," Rex sneers, slamming his fist on the counter. "This is our spot. Outsiders like you? Not welcome." The other customers stay silent, clearly afraid. Marge's hands shake as she pours coffee, spilling a few drops. Marcus calmly picks up a napkin, dabs the coffee, and looks up at Rex. His expression is unreadable, cool and controlled. "You sure you want to do this?" Marcus asks in a steady voice. Rex and his gang burst into laughter, completely underestimating him. They have no clue that the man sitting before them isn't just another stranger passing through. He's a former world champion, and they're seconds away from making the biggest mistake of their lives. The diner falls silent, all eyes locked on Marcus. Rex cracks his knuckles, a smirk on his face. "You got a smart mouth," he growls. "Maybe we need to teach you some respect." His gang chuckles, shifting around Marcus, cutting off any escape. But Marcus doesn't flinch. Instead, he calmly takes a sip of his water and sets the glass down with a soft clink. "You sure you want to do that?" he asks, his voice steady. His eyes meet Rex's, unshaken, unreadable. For a moment, there's hesitation. But Rex doesn't back down. He lunges, aiming a punch straight at Marcus's face. In a blur, Marcus moves, dodging effortlessly. Before Rex can react, Marcus counters, twisting his arm and forcing him to the ground with a heavy thud. The gang freezes, stunned. Marcus leans in close. "Walk away," he warns, his voice low but firm. Rex winces, his face red with humiliation. The gang hesitates, then helps Rex up. Without another word, they scramble out the door. The tension in the diner melts. Marge exhales in relief, a smile creeping onto her face. "Coffee's on the house," she says. Marcus nods, picking up his cup like nothing even happened. The room fell into a tense silence. Logan's heart pounded as he stared at the old wooden box in his hands. It was heavier than he expected. He traced his fingers over the carved initials on the lid MJ. He didn't recognize them, but something about them felt important. Taking a deep breath, he pried it open. Inside, wrapped in faded cloth, was a stack of letters. The paper was yellowed, the ink slightly smudged from time. Carefully, he unfolded the first one. "To my dearest, if you're reading this, I may not be there anymore." Logan's stomach tightened. His eyes darted across the words, his hands gripping the fragile paper. The letter spoke of secrets, of choices made in fear, of a truth hidden for decades. He read faster, flipping through the letters. Each one painted a picture of a love forbidden, a betrayal too dangerous to reveal. And then, at the very bottom of the box, he found something else. A photograph. It was of a young woman, smiling, her eyes filled with a story untold. And in the corner, barely visible, was a name scribbled in ink. Logan's blood ran cold. It was his grandmother's name. Ella was nervous, her fingers trembling as she looked at the first-class boarding pass. She had been dreaming about this moment for so long. But just as she stepped up to the counter, the gate attendant shook her head. "I'm sorry, miss. This seat is reserved," the attendant said. "You'll have to go to the back." Ella felt her heart sink. She glanced around, and that's when she saw him. Her father, tall and calm, walking over with a determined look on his face. He was usually quiet, but when something mattered, he made sure everyone knew. The attendant's eyes widened as he reached her. "Excuse me," he said, with a voice that brooked no argument. "She'll be sitting in first class." The attendant blinked, looking confused. But Ella's father didn't budge. He pulled out a stack of paperwork and handed it to the attendant. His firm voice filled the air. "This ticket was purchased in advance, and my daughter has every right to sit there. She's not going to the back." The attendant hesitated for a moment, then finally nodded. Ella's heart lifted as she turned to walk down the jetway, her father's proud smile following her every step. It was a dark night, and the wind howled through the trees, making the whole town feel eerie. Inside a small house on the outskirts, Alex sat nervously on the couch, waiting for his friends to arrive. They were supposed to spend the night telling ghost stories, but something didn't feel right. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and Alex's friends, Mark and Ben, stepped inside. They looked nervous too, as if they felt the same chill in the air. Mark, trying to lighten the mood, grinned. "Come on, it's just a story, Alex. There's nothing to be scared of." Ben, on the other hand, seemed on edge. "You sure about this, man? There's something off about this place." Alex nodded, though he wasn't so sure. He glanced over at the window. The shadows outside seemed to move in the wind. It wasn't just the darkness that made the house seem haunted, it was something deeper. The three of them sat down and began their first story, but the wind outside grew stronger. As Alex spoke, something from outside scraped against the window, making them all jump. The sound was sharp, almost as if someone or something was out there. Without another word, they all froze. Something was definitely wrong. The air in the room felt thick, like they weren't alone. It was a quiet afternoon when Sarah, a bright young girl, was sitting at her desk, sorting through a box of old family papers. She had always been curious about the stories her grandma used to tell her. Grandma had passed away a few months ago, and Sarah now had the chance to go through her things. As she flipped through the pages, something caught her eye, a small, faded letter, hidden in between the old photo albums. It wasn't like the others. The handwriting was unfamiliar, and the date was from decades ago. Sarah's heart skipped a beat. She had never seen this letter before. She slowly opened it, her fingers trembling with excitement. The letter was written by someone named Elliot, and it talked about a secret only known to a few in the family. The message was short, but it was clear there was something hidden, something important, buried deep in their family's past. Sarah's curiosity was now fully awakened. She had to know more. What was this secret? Who was Elliot? And why was this letter kept hidden all these years? She knew one thing for sure: this letter would change everything she thought she knew about her family. A soft breeze blew through the trees as Alex walked down the path toward the old house. His mind was full of questions. His dad had always talked about the house with a strange kind of seriousness, but Alex had never paid much attention. That was until he found the dusty old letter tucked away in his dad's desk drawer. The letter wasn't from a relative or a friend. It was from someone named Carl, and the words were unlike anything Alex had ever seen. It mentioned an old family secret and hinted at something hidden in the house. Alex had always thought his family was just like any other, but now he was starting to question everything. The more he read, the more intrigued he became. It was clear that whatever this secret was, it was something his father had kept hidden for years. He had to know the truth. Alex stood at the front door, unsure whether to knock or simply walk in. The mystery was now burning inside him. He couldn't leave without answers. Slowly, he turned the doorknob, determined to uncover the secret that had been locked away for so long. Jake had always been close to his grandmother, but nothing could prepare him for what he would find in her attic. He had heard the stories, the ones his mom used to tell about the mysterious chest in the attic, but he never thought much of them. After all, it was just an old family tale, right? But today, something felt different. Jake had decided to take a closer look. As he climbed up the dusty stairs, the air felt thick with mystery. When he reached the top, he spotted the old chest in the corner, just like his mom had described. His heart raced as he walked toward it. The lock was rusted, but it wasn't impossible to open. He grabbed a crowbar and pried it open, holding his breath in anticipation. Inside the chest was a stack of old letters, a family photo album, and something that made Jake freeze in his tracks, a locket that looked so familiar. He couldn't believe his eyes. It was his grandmother's locket, the one that she claimed had been lost for years. Jake's mind raced. What was the connection between this locket and the secrets his family had kept hidden for so long? There was only one way to find out.